Off there now, the British Home Office has sparked anger after suggesting that trafficked Nigerian women can go on to lead a wealthy life when they return to Africa after working as prostitutes in the UK. Charlotte Dubinsky looks now at what prompted the statement.
It's been described as at crisis level, the number of Nigerian women trafficked into prostitution across Europe. Thousands of women and girls every year forced into the sex trade, often in a bid to pay off the debt that they've incurred in being transported to the continent. According to the UN, these women are sexually exploited, they're raped, they're beaten.
They are subject to all forms of human rights violations, including torture, rape, extortion, forced labor, sexual and labor exploitation, amounting to trafficking and contemporary forms of slavery.
If they return home, there is also the risk of violent reprisals. The UN has described the rehabilitation and full social inclusion of trafficked persons back in Nigeria as being particularly challenging. However, the UK government appears to be painting a very different picture, one that's far rosier.
Trafficked women who return from Europe, wealthy from prostitution, enjoy high social economic status and in general are not subject to negative social attitudes on return. They are often held in high regard because they have improved income prospects.
This is part of an official policy and information note that's used by the Home Office decision makers who handle any protection and human rights claims. That includes trafficked women who may be seeking asylum. That's sparked outrage.
The issues that are faced by the thousands of people who are trafficked from Nigeria to the UK is one of destitution. They are brought by traffickers. They haven't come here of their own free will, and to imply that on the return back home they'll be welcomed back with open arms and brought back into the community as hard-working people, it is difficult. To return back, there are cultural stigmas behind what is perceived as prostitution. Nigeria itself is a conservative society in which religion plays a big part in it, and not only are you put aside by your family or your religious leaders, the community also shun you. So these are negative ingrained aspects of African society in which the Home Office doesn't seem to fully understand.
There is also a huge issue for those who do return to Nigeria in getting access to the support that they desperately need.
First of all, 90% of people who are trafficked to Europe from Nigeria are women, and 50 to 55% of them actually face sexual abuse and sexual assault. Many suffer from PTSD, many suffer, as you said, mental health issues. And on returning back to Nigeria, sadly, the local authorities and the government itself do not have the required facilities to help such ingrained issues within the population to have these issues.
It's not the first time the Home Office has found itself criticised over the way that it deals with victims of trafficking. Lawyers have accused it of showing disregard for their safety after it emerged victims were being released from immigration detention back to the addresses where they were enslaved. In 2018, it also emerged that under the hostile environment policy, victims of modern slavery and human trafficking had been jailed in breach of legislation, while others had been deported. In a statement, the Home Office said,
"Victims of modern slavery shouldn't be prosecuted for criminal offences they were forced to commit as a result of exploitation."
Just months after backing a campaign urging Nigerian women and girls to find jobs at home instead of risking a life of modern slavery in the UK, some might argue that this latest advice that prostitution can essentially equal wealth could actually encourage more women and girls from Nigeria to try their own luck and risk their own lives. Charlotte Dubinsky, RT, London.